As you build and grow your online business, knowing what projects you're doing and actually when you're doing them is a crucial part of your success. So, if you're never quite sure when to promote a workshop or share your new lab test funnel, and you're constantly adjusting your schedule around life, around launches, around last minute surprises, you're definitely not the only one. We all face this problem. It's that you don't have one place where your business plan lives. And by business plan, I'm referring to the goals that you've planned, your projects, and the things that you have to do to grow your business. You need to be able to schedule them and see them in one place. So in this video, I'm going to show you the annual business planning calendar that we teach inside Practitioner Accelerator. Now, we call it a master internal calendar because it's something that it's just for you, but it's a living, breathing planning system that you can start any time of year. You can customize it instantly and keep adjusting it as life changes. Once you learn how to use it, you'll finally see where everything fits, where it doesn't, and how to move these puzzle pieces around without losing momentum. Hi, I'm Lisa Hanfaletti. I am the member success coach here at HealAtScale, and this is the exact calendar system I use myself, and I help our members customize for their businesses inside Practitioner Accelerator. It's simple, it's powerful, and it replaces that constant confusion of what should I be doing now, feeling like it has to be done yesterday. And it gives you a visual roadmap that you can actually follow. So let me show you what the calendar looks like and how you can get your own template that you can customize right now. You can get it completely free simply by going to Instagram and messaging Real Joy Houston. Just go make sure you're following her and then message her with a DM and just give her the word calendar. And what you will get then is this copy document that you can just click the blue button here that says make a copy, and then you will have your own calendar that looks just like this. That is the directions I'm going to go through in just a second here, but you'll have your own calendar here. This is a yearly calendar. It's all set up, and you can set it to any time of year to have the entire calendar year for you to go ahead and customize. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, but go ahead if you want to follow along. You can pause the video, go ahead to @RealJoyHouston, DM her the word calendar. It's all automated. You don't have to give her your name or your email or anything like that. And you'll instantly get the link so that you can get the copy document, and then you can go ahead and open up the calendar with me. But before we get into that, let me just position this here for you so that I can walk you through the steps. We can do that together, but I want you to know that I know you're juggling a lot. Like you've got patient care, you've got program delivery, content creation, launches, you've got your personal life, and everything else that comes with running a business. And because everything is typically scattered across different calendars and apps and sticky notes, if you're like me, the year starts to feel, like, oh crap, I got to be doing this, and feeling like you're out of time. And so what we're trying to do is help you make progress and show it in a structured way, and so that you can see what needs to happen. And when life changes, because it always does, there's no simple way to adjust that plan if you're just using like a paper calendar, which, by the way, I love my paper calendar. I'm not saying give up your paper calendar, but you want to see how it all fits together. So this is why so many practitioners are stuck in this cycle of overwhelm. They've never really been shown how to create this organized calendar that holds the entire year, that feels flexible, supportive, and totally manageable. So the solution is building your annual business planning calendar. Again, I told you we call this our master internal calendar. And what makes this simple tool so effective is that it's designed to be customized and adjusted anytime you need it. It doesn't matter if you're watching this in November or January or April. It doesn't matter, because you can start your version on any Monday of the month and the entire calendar will update automatically. Again, I'm going to show you how to do this. It's very simple. So this is a planning system that grows with you. You'll come back to it as your goals evolve and offers evolve, or your personal life changes, which whose doesn't. It gives you this structure, but it also gives you that flexibility, which is missing when, again, we all have everything in a paper calendar. And again, I'm not saying that you should give up your paper calendars or any other calendars that you're using. This is different. Most importantly, it shows you how to organize your year in a way that's realistic instead of aspirational. So the first step in building your annual business planning calendar is entering what we call your non-negotiables. These are the days and weeks you absolutely will not be working in your business. These are things like vacations, kids' college visits, holidays, conferences, long weekends, weddings, surgeries, reunions, travel, family commitments, anything that genuinely takes you out of your business. Those are going to be scheduled on your calendar first, not your launches, not your content delivery schedule, not your social media schedule, not your delivery cycle, your non-negotiables. When you start to see those, two things happen immediately. One, you remove the guilt because you're no longer pretending that you can be in two places at one time. Two, you get a real, truthful picture of how much time and space you actually have available for your business. That clarity alone solves half the confusion practitioners deal with. Once your non-negotiables are set, the next step is adding your big projects and promotions. If we take, for example, launching your online program, the first thing you'd be adding to your calendar are your delivery weeks. This is your fulfillment. When you're teaching, you're doing group calls. These are what we call the boulders. So you're going to set the boulders in your calendar after you have the non-negotiables in there. These are the big time-intensive commitments that require you to be fully present. So program delivery, live teaching weeks, onboarding windows, anything that requires you to show up consistently, these get placed next because they dictate when your launches can happen and how much space you need around them. So after you have those in there, you can then start to look at launch timelines. So when is your drive to register window going to be? When is your drive to sale window going to be? When is your cart going to be open? What's your cart close dates? So when those are marked visually, your year begins to take a shape in a way that's much, much easier to follow. So you've got your non-negotiables, you've got your boulders and major promotions on the calendar, and now you can start to place the pebbles. These are your evergreen offers, your product promotions, your affiliate partnerships, and the smaller launches. These are the pebbles that fill in those open spaces in your year. And because your non-negotiables and big commitments are already mapped, you can place these smaller items confidently without accidentally overbooking yourself. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this. So finally, you'll add any personal or family commitments that don't completely take you out of your business, but they do impact your schedule. And these are things like personal appointments, attending local events, or times when your availability just shifts. So when you're done, you'll finally have something that's pretty rare in entrepreneurship, actual relief. You'll see your entire year on one screen. You'll see where you're trying to do too much. You'll see where you have space to breathe. And you'll see where future changes can fit in without derailing everything. It's much harder to do on a paper calendar when you start shifting things around. And then you'll have a plan that you can confidently translate into your weekly and daily calendar. So the master internal calendar becomes the foundation that everything else sits on. So again, if you want the exact business planning calendar template that we use, go ahead and get in touch with Joy at Real Joy Houston on Instagram. If you're not already following her, go ahead and follow her, and then message her the word calendar. And then you will get sent a copy link so that you can click that copy document and it will open this up. So let me show you how to customize this. Now I have some directions in here for you. So let's just go through them together. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, and I will make this bigger so that you can see this a little bit better while we're here. So the first thing you're going to do is watch this training video. There's a link to it in case you need to come back to this. You can come back to it. The next thing you're going to do is rename the document and save it to the right file on your drive. So the way that you rename it is right up in here. You just click in here and you can rename this, whatever it is that makes sense for you and your brand, so that you can come back to it. And then you want to put it into your drive. So I'm not going to, do that right here, but there is right to the right of this, there's a little file emoji, a file icon rather, and I will make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I got to make this whole thing a little bit smaller so you can see this, and then I will make it bigger right here. Do you see that little file right next to the name? So you can put it in the actual file that you wanted. Mine's already in my annual master internal calendar, and for our accelerator members, we have a type of filing system where we put things in our offers and our brand, and then in operations, and then in calendars, but you can set yours up however it makes sense for you that you can find it. The next thing you want to do is double click on the Monday, the very first cell on the calendar that says January 1st. And we're going to set that to whatever we want so that it makes sense for us for the rest of the year. So if I'm setting this up, for example, to January 2026, which is, coming up, then all I need to do is come into this very first cell right here, the one that says January 1st. And there's a little note right here that tells you change this date to any Monday, and the rest of the calendar dates will calculate automatically. Now, I want to make this really clear. This does have to be a Monday. It can be any Monday. Do not change any of these, okay? Because it will mess up your calendar. So you're only going to this very first cell right here that says January 1st, and watch, I'm going to double click on it, and it opens up a calendar, and this says January 2024. Well, I want January 2026, so I'm just going to use my little arrow button, and I'm just going to click. I probably could, type it in somewhere in the block, but I'm just going to go ahead and click all the way to January 2026. I went past it. I'm going to come back here, and I have to choose a Monday. Now, look what happens when if I choose January 5th, so I'm going to just click it. You can watch the rest of the calendar. I just clicked it, and the rest of the calendar just populated. So that's Monday, January 5th. Now, I want the first week of January here too, but it's not showing up because I chose the first Monday in January. So all I need to do is come back in here. I'm going to double click on that cell, and instead of clicking on the first Monday, I'm going to do the last Monday in 2025. And now I have the first few days of January set up right here. All right, so now I have that, and the rest of the calendar has populated. I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can see it all in one swoop here, and I'll move myself out of the way a little bit so that you can see the whole thing. So that you see we have Monday through Friday, so this is typically a work week, and then we have the weekend. So just note that when you're setting this up, if you're comparing it to another calendar, you just need to make sure that your eyes are on the right area. So Monday through Friday here, instead of the Sunday showing up in the first column. Now, we have a key for you up here. It's color-coded, but nothing is assigned. So at the top here, you can adjust these colors to your brand colors however you want to, and then you can decide what they are each for. So if I was putting in my vacation, I might come up here in this cell and in the purple one and just type in, these are my vacation days. So I just typed in the word vacation. So anytime I have vacation scheduled, I'm going to put this into my calendar. So I am on vacation this very first week of the new year. So what I can do is I can take this, I'm just going to copy it. So I'm going to select it, copy, and then I'm just going to paste it right in there. I'm on vacation. Now I could do this individually for each one, or, and you can learn how to use, this is just a simple Google spreadsheet. You can, learn how to use spreadsheets, but one of the things that you could do is you could select all of these cells at one time and then paste it in like that. The other thing that you could do is you could, those are individual days. That works out just fine. You can also take it and you can merge these cells into one. Actually, we can't do that on the spreadsheet. Never mind, don't do that. But you can select them all and change the color. So you can come up here and change the color to the one that is your vacation, and then type in the word vacation in there. So there's a bunch of different ways to do this. I'm just showing you kind of like the broad strokes right here. And then you can come back in and you can determine which of those days you want to assign to different things. So if that's vacation, then the next one in here might be when you're doing, I'll do a green one in here. This might be a launch date. So you would come in here and just do, launch LTF, your lab test funnel. And now you can come down here. You can say, okay, I know I'm going to be launching that the first week of February. So you might put that in here. Again, I could just copy this and put that in here for these dates that you're going to be launching. Now, we also have at the bottom here places where you could also do email. You could schedule out your emails that you're going to do. You could do social posts in here. You could do affiliate marketing. You could have these on separate tabs within your calendar, or I like to have them all on here and then just use these color-coded things so that you can see where everything is in one place. But every now and then you need to have something a little bit more separated out so that you can just see it alone before it's on the rest of the calendar. So you can play around with that. But let's go back to our list right here. So we already double-clicked. We chose the cell that was January 1st. We changed it to December. Whoops, where'd it go? We changed it to down here, December 29th, because that what's made sense for this year. So it's December 29th, 2025, and that takes us straight into 2026. So we have all of 2026 here that we can now customize. We can now, every individual cell, every row, we can customize so we can see where things are. And if we go back to our directions, now we're all set to customize. We can adjust the colors and any planned activities. And again, this is where you would put in your non-negotiables first, and then you can come back in and you can put in your projects that you're doing, any launches that you have, and fill it in with other promotions. And then you can start to see what other things can fill in there. I'll tell you something else you get from this calendar. When you have everything in here, you can also start to see when your income producing months are going to be, right? You can see when your promotions are. And so that can help you gauge your financial status and what's going to be happening for your generating revenue and that kind of stuff. So that's a really nice thing to be able to see and plan out and space out in your calendar. The next thing that we're going to do is have this available to review periodically because, as I said earlier, you are an entrepreneur, you have a real life, and things change. Things get in the way. Everything from weather to family issues, things happen. And so you want to be able to come in here. And if you have to move a launch date, this is your internal calendar. Nobody's judging you, right? These are your goals that you've set for yourself. This is how you've planned it out. And it gives you the flexibility to move things around. So come in here, and if you have to change something, then you just come on in here and change it. You can gauge where it is based on the other things that are in your calendar. So review this when things happen. When things happen and you need to make changes, just come in here and change them. I think the biggest benefit of this is it gives you a sense of relief because you can see what things are coming up and where you can space things in. I think it also helps with having realistic expectations for yourself so that you can see, if you were putting too much on your plate or not enough, you have space to do things. So this is, I think, really helps with generalized reality of the situation that you're in. Lastly, the thing that I want to point out here is once you've customized the key, so I'm here down here, this little tip, once you've customized the key and set the calendar for the current year, go ahead and duplicate this in another tab down here so you're not starting from scratch every year. So let me explain what I mean by that. So if I back this up and I take out the things that I've edited, including the vacation days. So we're back here. This is the calendar. I've just set it for 2026. The next thing I would do is I would come up here and I would put my key together. So I would put all these things in here. So if this is going to be, my affiliate promos in here, and this is going to be my, my lab test funnel launch, and this down here is going to be, family things that I'm doing. And so can you see, all I'm doing right now is I'm just visually, I'm changing the key so I know what color things are going to be when I see it on the calendar. So once I did that, and again, I would change these to my brand colors. So you can come up here, and these are the fill things. You can change, to whatever colors you want that makes sense for you and your brand. And so once that's done, the next thing I would do, and this is this number, this tip down here at the very bottom, what I'm referring to, is I would then take this count. So I don't have anything set on it yet. I have not scheduled my vacations or anything like that. I'd come down here where it says primary. This is what the name of this calendar. You might rename it something else. And there's a little down arrow. And when I click that down arrow, it gives me more choices. And one of the choices is duplicate. So I would duplicate this calendar. So I'm going to click duplicate. And then you'll see down below, it just made a copy of this calendar. So there's my calendar and there's the copy. So this copy, I would then rename this. So you can see one of the choices here is rename. And I would rename this, template. And that is what I would then be able to duplicate every year, rather than going back to the copy document and making a brand new document. I now have my key already done. And anything else, like if you wanted to change, the branding up here, you could change that. So that way I am not having to come in and every year start fresh. There might be some other things I would put in here that make it unique to me and easy for me to then start fresh with every year with some of the stuff already done. So those are the simple steps to creating your own calendar for the year and seeing where everything is. Additionally, on this page, you have a link here where if you feel like you want to join us in Practitioner Accelerator, go ahead and click that link. It'll take you to book a free game plan session. And you can see if this is something that you'd like to have access to all the time, all the training that we do within the mastermind. It's something that we love being able to help practitioners with, building their online business as well as their in-person business, so that you can get some freedom in your business and not feel like you are pressured to see people in person all the time. And that is the only way for you to run your life and your business. So I hope this has been helpful. If you want more efficiency hacks and tools and trainings and things like that, please let me know in the description, in the comments below this video, and I will love seeing you on the next video. Have a great rest of your day.